So, hello and most welcome to, let's see here, 1666, no, 1566, actually makes up the number 666, how odd. We will continue with the text that we ended in 1662. Jesus, the holder of the 7 stars in his right hand. An examination of Revelation 1:16. Sanghwan Lee, might he be of Chinese origin? Sorry, I wasn't waiting for time. That seemed to be a very odd thing happening in the street. Well, let's start here. The last session was on page 347. I don't misnow myself. And we were starting to talk about iconography.
No, 351. 351.
351. Yes, you're correct there. I had a couple of blanks here. 1662. And we were discussing the deceased son and how he is depicted on the coin on the reverse. On the recto, you'll find the imperial insignias. So tail and head are equal. Just a second. And that is an important, the contradictions are an absolute necessity to have a singular view, as we discussed many times. And we also show that in 1665, how our rationality itself has become machine-like. We think like machines, it's calculative, and this is changed the intellectual life of the whole Western world completely. There is no longer any similarity to what used to be called, what was called higher education. It is all machine fixated. And we continue with a short paragraph here, the globe. The third element on the image of the coin is the globe. Some identify this globe with the earth, whereas others identify it with the celestial sphere, that is the cosmos. Yet Molnar convincingly argues for the latter view based on the presence of astronomical markings. The equinoctial cross on the globe of our interest. Close inspection of the orbs sometimes shows not a smooth ball, but bands or hatch marks. On small orbs there appears a letter X, but on larger orbs it is recognized as cross bands that represent the intersection of the all-important zodiac and the celestial equator. The system of circles that the Greeks marked on the celestial sphere is described in the Phenomena of Aratus, Pliny's Natural History, and Manilius' Astronomica. The X is called equinoctial cross, which represents the spring and the autumnal equinoxes. It signifies the belief in cosmic cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Based on this interpretation, Molnar concludes that the sphere with the equinoctial cross should be identified with the celestial sphere. Molnar further notes that this globe has roots in religion and philosophy. Representing the divine universe and the sacred source of power of the cosmocrator, the world holder. Various numismatic evidence show that such a globe is commonly portrayed as being offered by Sol or Jupiter to the emperor, or that the emperor already possesses the orb and holds it outright for everyone to see. Hence, the depiction of a Roman Empire with the cosmic globes serves as an important political symbolism. The power of an emperor in this regard, sitting on the globe with astronomical markings represents cosmic dominion and power. The reverse image of the sestertius of Antonius Pius, a coin that also exhibits the goddess Italia sitting on the celestial globe, is instructive here. Commenting on this image of the coin, Molnar averse, Italia presiding on the cosmic orb signifies the greatness and immensity of her power. Taking these factors into account, one can understand the iconography depicted in the DCCT as meaning that the deified son of Domitian presides on the cosmic orb, exercising his authority over the cosmos. Summary and final thoughts. According to the information gleaned from this section, one can summarize the iconography of the DCCT as follows. One, the 7 stars represent the domain of the blessed dead who received immortality. 2, the infant represents the deified son of Domitian. And 3, the globe represents the cosmic sphere. As mentioned previously, these 3 elements were not uncommon on Greco-Roman coinage. Each image individually appears in various coin types. What is unique about the DCCT, however, is that Domitian put these elements into a single image. thereby forging his propagandic imperial message. Such an imperial message is well articulated by Ethelbert Stauffer as follows. Citation mark. After a short life on earth, the heavenly child has been raised to heaven's throne, and from there rules the cosmos, mightier than any earthly ruler, more glorious than the highest expectations of the nations, or the most audacious hope of his parents could have foreseen. Similarities and dissimilarities. Interestingly, Jesus depicted in Revelation shares several similarities with the deified son of Domitian portrayed in the DCCT. Noticeable dissimilarities also appear when the two are compared. In what follows, I will discuss these similarities and dissimilarities in turn. Similarities. According to the imperial message embedded in the DCCT, Domitian's son was an immortal being who was once dead. 2. Dwelling in the celestial realm. And 3. Ruling the universe. Interestingly, these characteristics bear striking similarity to the description of Jesus in Revelation. Immortal being who was once dead. As in the case of the deified son of Domitian, depicted in the DCCT. John in Revelation describes Jesus as a deity who was once dead but ascended to the celestial realm. For example, Jesus in Revelation 1:18b, a verse in close proximity to the verse of our interest. Makes this point explicitly, saying, I was dead, and behold, I am alive forever. Jesus' use of the living one in verse 18a as a self-designation further reinforces this point. In Revelation 5:6, John emphasizes that the Lamb appears to have been killed. Here, as Boast Fanning correctly points out, the Greek word for kill, sphazo, appears in the perfect sense, esphagmenon, functioning as highlighting the continued effect of Jesus's having been slaughtered. Fanning continues, the present effect is not that he remains dead, but that his appearance shows that he was slain as a sacrifice, though now he is standing alive amid the heavenly company. In some, as in the case of the son of Domitian, Jesus was depicted as an immortal being who once dead but come back to life. Dwelling in the celestial realm. Jesus and the son of Domitian were also portrayed as dwelling in the celestial realm. As observed previously, the DCCT places Domitian's son in the midst of 7 stars, representing the domain of the blessed dead who received immortality. Revelation not only assigns immortality to Jesus as observed above, but also places him in the otherworldly place. The so-called throne room, Revelation 4-5, demonstrate this point. Gallus avers that Revelation 4-5 is generally considered to be the pivotal section of the book of Revelation, which provides the most detailed picture of the divine throne and the heavenly realm in the entire work. In this otherworldly vision, Jesus appears as a heavenly figure, along with various heavenly beings, such as God, the 24 elders, the 7 spirits of God, the 4 living creatures, a strong angel, and many other angels. Furthermore, Revelation makes it explicit that Jesus has his own throne in the heavenly realm. Just as in the cases of other worldly beings. God and the 24 elders have their own thrones placed in heaven. These observations indicate that the author of Revelation depicts the celestial realm as the dwelling place of Jesus. Ruling the cosmos, the son of Domitian in the DCCT is sitting on a cosmic sphere. The son of Domitian in the DCCT is sitting on a cosmic sphere which represents world dominion and power, and that the deified Son of Domitian provides over the celestial globe is an imperial message that the deified Son exercises his sovereignty over the world. Jesus in Revelation appears to have a similar or more impressive power. For example, in Revelation 21:2-3, God and the Lamb are described as conjointly sharing the same cosmic throne. Commenting on these verses, Gallus correctly remarks, God and Jesus are pictured sitting together as equal occupants of the same divine throne. The concluding scene also encapsulates the climactic Christological message of Revelation. Since sharing the throne between God and the Lamb on equal terms implies the notions of divine unity and shared sovereignty. Thus, we can view that Jesus in Revelation possesses sovereign rulership over the world. I think I should make a cut here because we're going into dissimilarities. Well, we made dissimilarities a separate lecture. So we have the double take here. We have some interesting pointers, I would say. And going into the representation of the coin, the DCCT, we have some further thoughts. Of what they could mean. Down at the page 352, we have similarities. And three options here. Domitian's son at the very bottom of page 352. According to the imperial message embedded in DCCT, and then I read the suggestions. 1. An immortal being who was once dead. 2. Dwelling in the celestial realm. And 3. Ruling the universe. Interestingly, these characteristics bear striking similarity to the descriptions of Jesus in Revelation. They are showing that there is a potential and there's also an actuality. I come to think of the David Bohmian implicit explicit, an understanding of the universe having two features. One is the implicit and the other one the explicit. We mentioned that many times in connection with death. We try to get rid of death in modern days, but what we end up getting rid of is life. Very few, if anyone, I would say, it's incredibly rare, believe in immortality at heart. It's a wish for it, but there is no true, so to say, corporal understanding. Immortality, however, in Roman times was almost the default understanding. Putting implicit, explicit into this character and show that there is an interhookedness of life and death, and ridding life of death or vice versa, if that would be a viable option, rids us of these fantastic characteristics. There will be no beings in the celestial realm, neither will there be a rule of the universe. All three gets affected. That is maybe one favorite of the options, and we can read a little bit more about it in page 354. The son of Domitian in the DCCT is sitting on the cosmic sphere. The cosmic sphere we just identified in the coin. And it's the deified son, the infant son of Domitian, that presides over the celestial globe. What resides today with everyone? It's of course the mechanical universe. There is no possibility in the thinking system of this, so to speak, ruler of the cosmos in any way at all. The mechanism is in place, but it's interesting to see that didn't used to be the case. Also something that Paul Feyerabend is often pointing to, how in antiquity the gods were still alive. That was not shut out by the thinking. The mechanic thinking was not put in place. And of course that makes atheism and similar things not being ideologies, but rather the default understanding of the world, the DNA structure. Maybe some comments from Kalle?
Let me return to something from last time. A detail. Okay, this is the image. He's commenting on Jupiter. Ah, Here we spoke about the relation to greed, the two nurses, and those response to the hospitality, rivatis with immortality, pricing them as urta minor and urta minor. Let me see. And adult, let me see. Yes, this was the thing that I wanted to from last time. In last time, so he said that this author Lee, that Bible figures be identified with Jupiter,
Yes.
Domitian, the son of Domitian, and this is important phrase, I would say. Draconis never portrayed Jupiter as a child, rather it always depicted him as a majestic and grand. This is one of the arguments why, according to Lee, the child can absolutely not be Jupiter. It has to be Domitian's child.
Yeah.
And this was a contradiction, what he said, the link between dialogue greed and the coin.
Oh yeah, very good.
Of course. So. But today I found us another coin. So here he wants, he emphasizes the repetition, that is, Jupiter has always to be like this, to understand.
Yes.
But they, he said, Lee, in this text of today, on page 352, and this here, in his summary, and the points, these three elements were not uncommon on Greek Roman coinage. Each image individually appears in various coin types. It's unique about this coin is that Domitian put these elements into a single image. So now, in his conclusion, Lee emphasizes the uniqueness. So the question is, Lee wants on one hand that the coin shows only Domitian's son.
Yes.
It cannot absolutely be Jupiter as a child, which it should be, because of the reference to the island Crete, where Jupiter was reared up by these two nurses. So there's a contradiction, a dichotomy between uniqueness and generalities. That on one hand you need have types that support Jupiter is always like this and this and this. This is a strength, but sometimes you want the uniqueness. But I think the strength is both in the uniqueness and the generalities. For instance, in order to recognize a Jupiter, you have to have certain characteristics, but you then have to also have the thing that leaves the uniqueness. Otherwise, it will not be poetry or creative. Everything is on repetition.
No.
So.
Well, this is rather is arguing Sanghwan Lee similar to Jacob, who both needs teleology and he tries to undercut it, marginalize it, not caring about it, and then it's necessary for the whole argument. It's the most important thing in his argument, the teleology, otherwise it wouldn't work.
And I think the comparison that I made last time between Egypt, Osiris, and Horus is very good here, I think. It's on the one hand Jupiter's child, Jupiter as an adult, Domitian and his son, and the reborn Domitian, so to say, etc., etc. So it's a kind of repetition, but also uniqueness.
Yes.
And the poetry lies in the uniqueness, or the greatness lies that a poet or an artist can do something unique, but not doing too unique either, otherwise you will not recognize, you will only become puzzled, too puzzled. A little puzzlement is good, you need it.
Oh, yeah.
But if it's not too unfamiliar, it's not good either. So you need a mix between generality and uniqueness.
Yeah, exactly. Without that mixture, you won't have universality nor singularity. One of the points of Feyerabend. Modern educational system doesn't have either. There's simply a complete lack of knowledge today, and instead we have this machine model that is just universal, and therefore it's nothing.
Now, I could continue analyzing this image, but let's perhaps continue with it next time.
Yeah, we will take dissimilarities next time. That could be quite as interesting as well. I thank everybody for participating and listening in. Thank you very much, Kalle, for joining.
Thank you.
I hereby stop the recording.